During this lecture, we've paid attention to a number of ways to analyze film, and it can be a bit overwhelming in the first lecture of the class to encounter so many terms. But keep in mind that you can use this film term worksheet throughout this semester. This handout gives us the terminology and vocabulary to accurately write about film techniques that we'll find in the films we watch this semester. So pay attention to these details as we wrap up our film form worksheet. First, look for the function of the technique in the context of the total film. If you ever find a particular detail in terms of writing or image or sound in a film, pay attention to the way that that particular detail allows us to understand the film as a whole. And always pay attention to the relationship between that particular element and the film as a whole, rather than isolating that element and writing about it only in one scene. Again, pay attention to the way it helps us understand the narrative from beginning to end of the film. Be sure to discuss and analyze films critically using this good vocabulary we have on this film term worksheet. Be sure to discuss how to analyze films critically. Consider the questions that the films ask and respond to, and then use the filmic text as your evidence. This is particularly important. The films that we're watching don't tell us to behave in a certain way. When I watch a 007 film, a James Bond movie, it doesn't tell me that I need to become a spy. I'm not watching the film so that it will tell me something. But it asks questions. It asks different things about our culture. And so we'll watch films with this in mind. When we watch a film clip, for example, about gang members in Central America in Sin Nombre, the film isn't telling us to become gang members. It's asking us questions. Why do people resort to violence? Why do young men end up in these type of gangs? And then we use the film to respond to that question. There's all kinds of uncertainties. There's all kinds of social inequalities that lead men to behave in this way. And so we ask the question that the films ask, and then we use the film to respond to those questions, rather than saying, I don't think people should be in gangs. That's an important point that one might have. But as we watch the film, we pay attention to the way the film responds to that question and the possibilities that it generates. And part of analyzing film and responding to these questions is to consider the way that film techniques are used to convey the narrative. We'll keep working on this throughout the semester. Ask me questions if you have questions about this lecture, and I'll be happy to respond to those. And again, we'll keep reinforcing and integrating these ideas as we move through each of our subsequent films.